There was something off about the new ice cream truck in town. It didn't play the same cheerful music like the others. Instead, its jingle was slow, almost broken, like an old music box. It sent shivers down my spine every time I heard it. But for some reason, all the kids in the neighborhood loved it. One summer evening, I was hanging out with my little sister, Lucy, in the front yard. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and pink, when we heard the jingle. The ice cream truck rounded the corner, its headlights flickering. The truck was rusty, its paint peeling, but it had "Free Ice Cream" written in big colourful letters on the side. Lucy's eyes lit up. "Can we, please?" she begged, tugging at my arm. I didn't want to. That truck gave me a bad feeling, but Lucy wouldn't stop asking, so I sighed and grabbed a few dollars from the house. When we got to the truck, the man inside gave me chills. He wore a white uniform, but it was stained and yellowed like he hadn't washed it in years. His face was pale and bony, with dark circles under his eyes. His smile stretched too wide, showing crooked yellow teeth. "What'll it be, kiddos?" he asked, his voice raspy. Lucy pointed at a rainbow popsicle and I handed the man the money. His hand was cold and clammy when he gave me the change, and his nails were long and dirty. As we turned to leave, Lucy dropped her popsicle. "Oh no!" she cried, turning back to the truck. "Don't worry," the man said. "I'll get you another one. Come closer, sweetie." Before I could stop her, Lucy stepped up to the truck. The man leaned out, grinning, and grabbed her wrist. She screamed, but he yanked her into the truck so fast I barely saw it happen. "Lucy!" I shouted, pounding on the side of the truck. The man just laughed, slamming the window shut. The truck sped off, its broken jingle echoing down the street. I ran after it, but it was too fast. By the time I reached the corner, it was gone. Nobody believed me when I told them what happened. The police searched, but they couldn't find the truck, or Lucy. Weeks passed, and the summer grew quieter. Kids stopped playing outside. Parents kept their doors locked. Everyone was afraid of the ice cream truck. One night, I was lying in bed when I heard it again, the slow, broken jingle. My heart raced as I peeked out the window. The truck was parked in front of our house. The man stood in the street holding a rainbow popsicle, and behind him, in the truck's window, I saw Lucy. Her face was pale, her eyes empty. She wasn't screaming. She wasn't moving. She just stared at me, her lips curling into a twisted smile. The man raised a hand and waved, and then they were gone. Everyone in town knew about the Barbell family. They weren't just gym rats. They were legends. Every year they won the big bodybuilding competition, and every year people whispered about their odd habits. Some said they lived like wild animals, eating raw meat and howling at the moon. Others claimed they had some secret ritual that made them so strong. But the creepiest rumour, they all drank their ancient great-grandmother's breast milk. Supposedly she was hooked up to some weird contraption in their house, even though she was over 100 years old. People swore it gave them their freakish strength. I thought it was all just gossip, until the night I snuck into their gym. It started with my buddy Jake. He worked out obsessively, always saying he was going to beat the Barbell brothers in the competition this year. One night, after they crushed him in another round of bench presses, he dared me to go see how they trained. "I'll bet they're hiding something in there," he said, his face red with anger. "You in?" I didn't want to, not really, but Jake was my best friend, and I couldn't let him go alone. So we waited until the gym closed, then slipped in through the back door. The place smelled like sweat, metal, and something else, something sour. "Let's find their secret," Jake whispered, grinning. At first, everything seemed normal. Rows of weights, mirrors everywhere, and treadmills humming softly in standby mode. But then we noticed the back room. It was locked with a heavy chain. and there was a faded sign. Barbell family only. Jake pulled out a pair of bolt cutters. "This is it," he said, cutting through the chain. The door creaked open, revealing a long hallway lit by flickering red lights. "Maybe we shouldn't," I muttered, my stomach twisting. But Jake was already halfway down the hall. At the end of the hallway was a huge, shadowy room. The smell hit me first, like spoiled milk and something rotten. In the middle of the room stood a strange machine, pipes and tubes running from it to a bed. And lying on that bed was their great-grandmother. She was ancient, her skin stretched tight over her bones. Her eyes were open but glassy, staring at nothing. The tubes were hooked to her chest, and milky liquid dripped slowly into jars lined up on a table. Jake's face went pale. What is this?" Suddenly we heard heavy footsteps behind us. The Barbell brothers were back. "You shouldn't be here," boomed the biggest one, his voice like a growl. He was massive, his muscles bulging unnaturally, his eyes locked on us, wild and furious. Before we could run, another brother grabbed Jake and threw him across the room like a rag doll. He hit the wall with a sickening thud and didn't get up. I froze, terrified. The biggest brother stepped closer, cracking his knuckles. "You want to see how we stay strong, huh?" He lunged at me, but I dodged, barely escaping his massive hands. I ran for my life, not even stopping to check on Jake. The last thing I heard as I fled was the great-grandmother's weak, raspy laugh. Jake was never found. The police said he probably ran away, but I knew better. I knew the Barbell brothers took him, and I didn't want to know what they did next. Now, whenever I walk past their gym, I swear I can still hear that laughter, and sometimes I see them in the window staring out with their unblinking, hungry eyes.
When I met Stacy on Tinder, I thought I'd hit the jackpot. She had this perfect white smile that could light up a room. We clicked instantly, and before long, she became my girlfriend. She was sweet, mysterious, but had this strange fascination with teeth. She was always urging me to get my wisdom teeth pulled, just in case they caused problems for me in the future.
"Did you finally get your wisdom tooth removed?"
She asked one night over the phone. "Yeah," I said, wincing as I touched my sore cheek. "Hurts like crazy."
"You should put it under your pillow."
She said, her voice soft and teasing.
"For good luck. Who knows? The Tooth Fairy might bring you something special."
I laughed. "The Tooth Fairy, huh? I thought we left her back in kindergarten."
"I'm serious, Elliot. Do it."
It was weird, but Stacy had a way of convincing me to do things. I tossed the tooth under my pillow that night, more as a joke than anything else. Before bed, I texted her, "If the Tooth Fairy shows up, she better have teeth as nice as yours." I woke up in the middle of the night to a strange, metallic taste in my mouth. My tongue felt heavy, my jaw numb. I tried to move my mouth, but it barely worked. Something was wrong. My pillow was stained with dried blood, and so was my shirt. Panic surged as I touched my lips. My fingers came away red. "Stacy?" I croaked. I called out, but the room was eerily silent. She should have been home by now, I thought to myself. On the nightstand was a folded note. My hands shook as I opened it.
"I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I'm so sorry. But I had to get that freak away from me. The only way to get rid of her is to pass her on to someone else. I'm sorry I did this to you, but I couldn't live with her haunting me anymore. Check the dresser."
I stumbled to the dresser where her orthodontist card and medical records were sitting. One paper caught my eye, a recent veneers procedure dated just weeks ago. My heart pounded. Was her smile even real? Then I heard it. A giggle. It came from the bathroom. Faint, but unmistakable. My blood ran cold. I crept toward the door, leaving it cracked just enough to peek inside. And I saw her. The figure hunched over the sink was not human. Her skin was pale and stretched too tightly across her face. Dark, empty eye sockets stared into the mirror as she pressed my teeth into her bleeding gums, one by one. 4 of them already sat crooked in her mouth, gleaming unnaturally white against her cracked lips. The giggle came again, high-pitched and childlike. She turned her head slightly, and for a moment, I thought she saw me. I bolted. Grabbing my keys, I didn't even stop to put on shoes. I ran to my car and sped down the road, my hands shaking so hard I could barely steer. When I finally caught my breath, I adjusted the rearview mirror to check my mouth. I forced my jaw open with trembling fingers. 4 teeth were gone. The rest? They looked blackened, rotted, like they belonged to someone decades older. My chest tightened. How could this be happening? I glanced in the mirror again, and for a split second, I swore I saw something in the back seat. A pale, grinning face. The giggle came once more, and this time it was right behind me.